Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Troy, and in today's video we're going to be talking about one of my recent favorite cichlids in this hobby, and that's the Geophagus Sveni. We're going to walk through a full care guide and a species profile on this Geophagus species, and I can't wait to talk more about it. Before we do that, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and let's dive right in. So here are my Geophagus Sveni. I currently have a group of 6 in this tank, and they are in a few different sizes. I recently added this largest one, but I've had 3 of them for about a year and a half now, and then 2 of them are really small that were also recent additions. The Geophagus Sveni are South American cichlids, and they are native to the rivers of Brazil. The Sveni is a type of Geophagus which translates to earth eater, and they will display some very interesting behaviors in your aquarium. Like most Geophagus species, they'll sift through the sand constantly, looking through your substrate for leftover food, and because of this, they'll usually be at the bottom third of your aquarium. One of the first things that stands out about the Sveni is definitely the coloration. They are arguably the most beautiful of all the Geophagus species, with bright blue and red throughout their body, tall spiked dorsal fins, and long fin extensions once they become adults. All of this combined makes them a showstopper in any tank setup, and they are definitely worthy of being a centerpiece fish. Similar to other Geophagus species, they can be slow growers relative to other cichlids, but if you're patient and let these fish grow into adults, there isn't much that can top them. As full-grown adults, they'll usually max out around 10 inches in length, with some topping out a bit smaller than that. Due to the adults becoming a fairly large size, I would recommend a decent sized tank as well. I wouldn't recommend keeping adult Sveni in anything less than maybe a 75-gallon tank. You may be able to keep Sveni in a slightly smaller tank as they are growing out, maybe in their first year or two, but once they hit that 6 to 7 inch range, you really need a 75-gallon or larger. That's what I currently have this group in, but I currently have a larger tank order processing and on its way, and they'll be getting an upgraded tank size in about a month. Once they reached this size here, I just felt like they really needed a bigger tank. My largest Sveni here is about 6 inches in length, so they do still have a lot of room to grow, along with some larger fin extensions that should be coming soon. Here's some footage of more Sveni from my friend on Instagram, Sean. I'll leave a link in the description to his page where he posts about these Sveni very often. He also has a group of 6, and they are slightly larger than mine, and they are beautiful fish already, as you can tell. For both his tank setup and mine, we kept these Sveni in groups. This definitely helps avoid some aggression between each other, and I found that you'll usually have the best luck keeping them either solo, in pairs, or in groups of 5 or more. It can be hard to manage them if you have 2 males and a female, for example, as the males will likely fight over the female. Sveni are usually one of the most peaceful Geophagus, but like any cichlid, there could always be an outlier where you find one that is extra aggressive. But keeping the appropriate male to female ratio and having a larger tank will definitely give you the best chances of having success with them. Since Geophagus Sveni are South American cichlids, their ideal tank parameters are going to be in that lower pH and softer water range, along with tropical temps. For pH, anywhere from 6 to 7 would probably be ideal, while temps can range from the mid 70s to the lower 80s. I actually have hard water and high pH in my area, and these Sveni have done just fine and are growing healthy. In my opinion, if you keep consistent water parameters, that is most important, and having a cycled tank with regular water changes, making sure to keep those nitrates very low, the Sveni should do great long term even if they aren't in the ideal pH and hardness level. As mentioned, Geophagus Sveni are sand sifters, so a sand substrate is highly recommended. Gravel could even potentially damage the Sveni gills, so just keep that in mind if you are planning to keep them. The ideal setup for the Sveni would definitely be sand, with some driftwood and rocks included as well. They can do well with live plants if they are firmly planted or tied down. As with any Geophagus, they usually won't eat the plants, but they will dig a lot and move the substrate around, which could uproot some of the plants. Given their tank size requirements, tank setup, and temperament, here are some tank mate options for the Geophagus Sveni. The Severum is one of my favorite combinations for the Sveni since they share many requirements and aren't overly aggressive for their size. They also can complement the Sveni well with a few different color variations, and along these same lines, another great choice for your tank would be the electric Blue Acara. Sveni, Severums, and electric Blue Acaras make for a great trio of tank mates with a variety of colors, behaviors, and body shapes. The Sveni could also mix with some other species of Geophagus. Geotopos would likely be a good mix, along with the Steindagneri, the Braziliensis, although they can be a little more aggressive at times, and the Weinmilleri potentially would all work well with the Sveni. The Satanoperca juripari and the Threadfin Acara would also be great choices for the Sveni. Overall, with cichlid tank mates, I would just recommend other American cichlids that don't get too aggressive, because it could really be a shame if the Sveni had aggressive tank mates always nipping at their fins. For non-cichlids, the Bala shark would be a great tank mate if the tank is large enough. Silver dollars would also be a great option, and the roseline shark. All of these options would provide some activity to the upper and mid-level of the tank, which could pair well with the Sveni, who would be at the bottom third. Smaller tetras like neons and cardinals might not work with adult geos, but some slightly larger barbs and tetras would likely do well, such as the Colombian tetra or the Buenos Aires tetra. These options will also add a unique dimension to the tank with some shoaling behavior and movement. When it comes to feeding, Geophagus Sveni will readily accept most foods. I haven't really seen them be picky eaters, and a variety of foods are recommended. My recommended diet for Geophagus Sveni is a high quality pellet and flake food, and occasional frozen food as a treat maybe once every week or two. Sveni will do well with smaller size pellets. I use extreme pellets since they sink fairly quick, and the Sveni will eat some out of the water column and finish off the rest off of the sand. Links to the extreme food I use are in the description of the video if you need it. When it comes to breeding, Geophagus Sveni are very similar to other species of Geophagus, where they will pair off and the female will usually lay eggs on a flat surface, such as a piece of slate or rock, or they will even dig out an area of the substrate and lay the eggs on the bottom of the tank. Males and females will both have great color and fin extensions when it comes to the Sveni, so it can be hard to tell the difference until the female is ready and you see them lay the eggs. That is another benefit of the Sveni though, is that the male and female both look great with a ton of color and fin extensions. Overall, the Geophagus Sveni is one of my favorite cichlids, which has amazing coloration, peaceful temperament, and interesting sand sifting behaviors. As long as you provide a good sized tank, a sand substrate, and tank mates that won't bully or nip at them, the Geophagus is relatively easy to care for. I would highly recommend these for anyone looking into South American cichlids. Okay guys, that does it for today's video. I hope you found that helpful or interesting, and you like just hearing more about this Geophagus species. If you'd like to see another care guide on a different cichlid, make sure to leave that down in the comments section below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.